afternoon. It's the Pit Stop. I'm Stephen McCollum, and I'm going to get you set up on what's happening around the racing world specifically. Well, we're going to look back at last weekend's racing at Bristol, Truck, O'Reilly, and NASCAR Cup Series there. Then this week, we'll look ahead. And, of course, this weekend, you got Long Beach with IndyCar. And then the O'Reilly and Cup Series headed to Kansas this weekend. Truck Series has a couple of weeks off ahead of them. They don't get them back until May 1st coming up here as well. So we look back at racing last weekend, look ahead to this week, the news around the sport, and lots of news out there, including a lawsuit. Well, the second lawsuit that won't die. We'll talk about Joe Gibbs Racing versus Spire and Gabe Hart and all of that stuff coming up as well. So I'm Stephen McCollum, and let's get started by looking back in NASCAR racing at Bristol last weekend. And, of course, it got underway with that Truck Series as well on Friday afternoon. Well, Friday afternoon our time, Friday evening over there at Bristol Motor Speedway. Several NASCAR drivers went down to the Truck Series to compete last Friday night. And kind of made me unexcited for this race here coming up. Now, it turns out, because kind of my thing is when we pick drivers here on this program, we try not to pick the guys that are coming down, the favorites that should win it, right? Obviously, a Cup Series driver should be able to come down and win that. But who can compete, right, in that the guys that run in the Truck Series who can compete with those Cup Series guys? We got some of that competition coming up here, even though a Cup Series guy did win this Truck Series race. Corey Heim came into this race with the dream of completing that triple truck challenge. Well, that's where that would earn him a $350,000 bonus if he won this race like he did at the last couple. Well, that ended prematurely, folks, right? He ran into the wall, backed into the wall there on turn one. It happened on lap 180. That was just moments after he had run it past and basically got past the leader, Christian Eckes, at that time. That was the only lap led there by Corey Heim, as he did get knocked out at that time. Let's show you that. Corey Heim into the wall. Truck one, please.
He's got the, oh my gosh, Corey Heim goes around from the lead, hard into the outside wall, collects Caden Honeycutt, Lane Riggs, trucks on the bottom, hitting the inside wall. Caution is out for the 8th time.
It wasn't just a devastating wreck there for Corey Heim, as you saw there. The driver he had just passed was racing hard there, and of course we're talking about Christian Eckes there. Bumped into the back of Corey Heim, caused him to go around and into that wall. Well, it also was damaging for another teammate there of Corey Heim. Caden Honeycutt, as you saw, also got involved in that. He T-boned Corey Heim's truck in that race as well. And then my pick to win that race, Lane Riggs, he got into it as well, right? He nosed into Honeycutt's truck, all in that chain reaction that happened after Corey Heim hit the wall. Big names, guys expected to compete for the win, all knocked out there in that little wreck there with Corey Heim in the Truck Series. Then that means Christopher Bell ends up getting the win in this race. He did grab the lead from Christian Eckes, who stayed up there in the front the whole race, but Christopher Bell passed him on lap 188. Of course, this is a 250-lap truck race last weekend in Bristol. He held it the rest of the way, Christopher Bell did. Chandler Smith did move into second. He, after one of those restarts there on lap 224, he chased Christopher Bell to the checkered flag, and I was rooting hard there for, of course, Chandler Smith, who also I was looking at here to win this weekend as well, based off of the DQ from the previous week. Well, Christopher Bell got the win. He finished 0.330 seconds ahead of Chandler Smith in this race. It was the first Truck Race Series victory since 2017 for Christopher Bell. It was his first win at Bristol, the 8th win of his career as well for Christopher Bell here. So, how's Christopher Bell? Is he excited to win the truck race? Is he, what's his feelings here coming down from the Cup Series? Well, let's find out. Christopher Bell after the race. This is from Fox Sports, Truck 2.
Oh, man, that was just so awesome to be able to win a truck race. Man, it's been, since 2017 since I've won one of these things. So it's a lot of fun racing with this group, this HFR group. I got the unfortunate call last year to drive for Stewart whenever he got hurt, and we went out to Watkins Glen and almost got it. And they've been working really hard to get to victory lane. And whenever Stewart and Jimmy called me about this opportunity to, try and run some races this year, I'm like, heck yeah, let's do it. So just so special for me to be able to race with these guys. And these wins mean a lot to this team and this organization. So can't say thank you enough to Stuart Friesen, Jimmy over there at HFR, Mr. Larson. Thank you for the opportunity. Glad we got his logo in victory lane there. So I love this racetrack. Love you, fans. You guys got to see some demo racing there for a little bit. So I'm sure you guys love that.
How rewarding is it for you? You mentioned this organization. They've been through a lot. Stewart has been through a lot. It's a small run team, and for you to do this here at Bristol, a very tough racetrack.
Yeah, it's just, it's such an awesome racetrack. I always tell everybody this is my favorite place to go because it's so fast, but yet it's a half mile in length. You got that short track racing with intermediate speeds. So I love this racetrack and can't wait for Sunday.
I left that part in that conversation with Fox Sports there because it just shows you how many people here that race around NASCAR, from the drivers to the crews, just love this Bristol racetrack for what it does bring here as well. Let's up the finishing order here in the Truck Series. Obviously, we know this will be Truck 3. We know Christopher Bell got the win here. He led 63 laps. Chandler Smith second. Gio Ruggiero there in third for him. Ross Chastain, another Cup driver, coming down in that fourth spot. Christian Eckes led 132 laps of this race, finished in fifth place when it was all said and done. Jake Garcia, Dawson Sutton, Kyle Busch came in at eighth place here, coming down from the Cup Series. Then Carson Hocefer in the ninth spot. Then in that 10th spot, Brendan Queen, in that 10th spot for that top 10. Ben Rhodes, Truck Series driver, led 13 laps here, finished 11th. Tyler Ankrum here in 13th in terms of names we're paying attention to. Stuart Friesen, as you saw, Christopher Bell running on his team, finished 16th here as well for him. Tanner Gray finished 20th. Lane Riggs ended up 22nd after getting mixed up into that accident, able to get out there. Ty Majeski in 23rd as well. So some big-name guys here finishing down on the racetrack. Some news around Corey LaJoie. Of course, he's taken over and running in this Truck Series the rest of the year with Dye and colleague racing doing their split earlier. Corey LaJoie finished 29th in this race. Corey Heim in that accident. Corey LaJoie, by the way, in an accident as well. But Corey Heim, Caden Honeycutt, all left this race in that wreck there, about lap 180 earlier here as well. So let's get you updated around the Truck Series championship points. Truck 4, please, is what we are looking at. And look, it's very simple that we're looking at. Chandler Smith still winning this race, or in the number one spot, I should say, at 208 points. Right there with Caden Honeycutt, who went out of this race early in that second spot, now 1 point behind him. Lane Riggs staying competitive as well, 204 points there in the third spot. Christian Eckes with his fantastic finish here, fifth place, but dominating a lot of this race in that fourth spot, followed by Gio Ruggiero, Ty Majeski, Ben Rhodes, Jake Garcia, Justin Haley, Stuart Friesen on the 10th spot there on the inside of the playoff hunt. Not too much of a distance here, but we're getting some separation for 12th through 15th. But right now, Tyler Ankrum's only 3 spots out of a playoff spot, followed by Tanner Gray, 17 spots out. Brendan Queen there, 20 points out. Grant Effinger and Daniel Hemrick of round out. The guys on the outside below the cut line still able to race their ways in, and everybody's still eligible to get into that playoffs. It's still early in the season. You just have to have some good finishes here for a lot of these teams coming into these racetracks. Now, the Truck Series is off until May 1st. That's where they'll race at Texas Motor Speedway. So a few weeks off, a couple weeks off for them coming up. And that was a Friday night race. Then we go into the Saturday race here with the O'Reilly Series there. Connor Zilic has been on the Cup Series and, quite frankly, has struggled this year on the Cup Series. Comes down into the O'Reilly Series here for the Bristol race. Well, they made a big pit decision here in this race. Connor Zilic did stay out on those older tires. With about 28 laps left here at Bristol, he ended up taking the checkered flag with that decision as well. A lot of people question the decision. Is new tires or go a little bit faster, a little bit easier there on the racetrack. Well, Connor Zilic got the win there, even with those older tires. And here's Connor Zilic after the race. So Riley won.
Yeah, man, that was awesome. It's been a tough past few weeks for me in the Cup Series, and feels good to come back down here and into the O'Reilly Series and remember that I can still do it. It's tough. You finish in the back every week and you forget who you are, but this feels good. So, we played strategy. Rodney made a great call to keep us out. The tires weren't wearing much all night, and we were able to get our Roto-Rooter Chevrolet in the track position that it needed to go out and win the race. So, really cool to be able to race against Kyle and learn from him. He's so talented and such a fast race car driver, and man, it's good to be back with JRM and back in victory lane.
It's interesting there, right? You heard him say it. This is a guy that dominated, 19 years old is all he is. Last year he's 18 years old, dominated the O'Reilly Series at that point, won a bunch of races on his way to the championship, destined to move up into the Cup Series and got his chance here, of course, obviously as just being a young phenom. And hasn't done well there at the Cup Series. You heard him say it's tough being there at the back of the pack every year. Kind of lose yourself when you're used to being in the front. Be interesting to see how finishing in the O'Reilly Series there in first place there for Connor Zilic kind of maybe propels him on these ovals moving forward. If it does get him, I'm not saying he's going to go and win these races, but does it get him moving up a little bit and more confident there in the Cup Series cars, even though they are completely different cars. Hey, Kyle Larson, you heard Connor Zilic give him some props there. He had to settle for second place in this race. He led 230 of the 300 laps in this O'Reilly Series. He swept the first two stages as well. There at Bristol. Yeah, finished in second place after all of that dominating run as well. And keep that in mind here going into the Cup Series. Also, the finishing order for the O'Reilly Series, well, let's go to O'Reilly 2 here for you out there. And it's pretty simple. Connor Zilic in the first spot, Kyle Larson in the second spot. Two Cup guys coming down as well. Connor Zilic picked up his first win of the season. It's his first at Bristol and the 12th total of his career. So they're both, they're sitting there, Junior Motorsports. You heard him say JRM there. Brent Cruz there finished in third spot. Justin Allgaier in fourth. Carson Kvapil in the fifth spot in terms of the top five. Well, that group there, 4 out of the 5 top place finishes were JR Motorsports or Junior Motorsports drivers. Yeah, the only one that was not was Brent Cruz there. He crashed that party with his third place finish as well. He had the same strategy as Connor Zilic, staying out with the older tires. But Joe Gibbs Racing being the only car not in the JRM stable there in that top 5. JR Motorsports is dominating, I should say, here on this O'Reilly Series as well, going into it. Big names here, down at the bottom, you got Carson Kvapil, as I said, in 5th, Sheldon Creed in 6th, William Sawich in 7th, Corey Day in 8th. A lot of guys here finishing down towards the bottom. Jesse Love in 12th spot here. Thought he would have kind of a better finish on this half-mile speedy racetrack. Did not get it done there in that 12th spot. For him, Sammy Smith, Raja Karuth in 14th spot as well here for him going into this race here at Bristol. Kind of, you saw it in the Truck Series. You saw him reference the Crash Fest there. 8 cautions here for 59 laps in the O'Reilly Series as well. Other drivers and things to pay attention to. Stop me if you've heard this before. Justin Allgaier collected that $100,000 bonus. It's at O'Reilly Auto Parts Dash for the Cash program. Well, here's the reason why I say stop me if you've heard it before. It's his 8th time in his career he's won this specific Dash for Cash. You have to be the top 4 racers. They're basically 4 racers were eligible. You got to be the top 4 in last week's race at Rockingham for the previous race there. He was one of the 4 eligible, gets the win, $100,000 to him as well. He talked about it a little bit after the race. Of course, all of these videos are thanks to the CW as well. But Justin Allgaier also talked about the race when they caught up to him afterwards. Here it is, CW, O'Reilly 3.
Dash for Cash winner yet again here with Justin Allgaier. Another $100,000 in the bank to you, so congratulations on that. But let's talk about your race. Seemed like the setup wasn't quite where you guys normally have it, and also that pit to there at the end. Just go over the call and your race tonight.
Yeah, I probably I don't know. I could have stayed out there. You know, Andrew told me if the leaders come to stay out, and I just didn't want to be the last one to stay out. I knew that it was going to be really hard to hold off those guys on fresh tires. But, you know, ultimately I thought it worked out really well. You know, Andrew Overstreet and this whole 7 team did a great job. Our Carolina Car Parts Chevy was good. It wasn't maybe as good as we needed to be to go try to win the race. But, you know, pit stops were on point all night. We executed everything well. It was a great points day for us. And obviously, you know, huge thanks to our Rally Auto Parts for keeping this Dash for Cash program going. It means a lot. You know, this is a big deal to these race teams to be able to help, you know, make our programs better and you know, keep these things running up and on the road. So, you know, it's disappointing to run fourth, but at the same time, you know, to have the points that we did to lock our way into next week for the Dash for Cash, you know, those are all, you know, really big positives for us. So I'm proud of the effort. Just wish it could have been a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, it does crack me up. He's such an experienced driver, obviously an older O'Reilly driver out there. Look at me throwing Xfinity in there. You could just see his professionalism and everything that he carries there as he's running and continue to dominate here on this series. There was a scary moment in this O'Reilly series, however, in this race specifically. Mason Maggio, well, he's during the race there. His engine blows up, and, well, we'll just show you here. I'll tell you this. He is safe, folks. No injuries to him, but O'Reilly 4.
Cautions out. Mason Maggio, the 91 for DGM, up in smoke. Was our first caution of the night. And he'll bring it out again here with 106 laps to go. Was running 35th, 3 laps off the pace. And he'll scatter the folks in the infield there.
Yeah, spraying for bugs.
That engine has gone
whoa.
Fire, get out. You're on fire. Get out, get out, get out.
Gosh. Safety crew and
back up, boys.
Folks down there running for cover.
Yeah. They stopped at a good spot. There's 4 firemen standing there with fire extinguishers. That's good.
Yeah, they're on him right
the
away.
Smoke is so bad inside of the car.
There's over on the backstretch. By the time this is off of turn 2, so all the way down the backstretch here. Able to get it to the inside relatively quickly, but smoked out the whole facility here.
That is so scary as a driver because you don't know if there's oil or how much oil there is or what line he was running.
And you can't see.
Yeah, and you can't see. Look at that.
Wow.
You can see it was already on fire before he even came to a stop.
We don't normally see engines expire in that dramatic a fashion in this day and age.
I mean, you heard him just say
Good to
that.
see Mason out of the car. There he is right there.
You know, you just heard him say there that you don't see engines expire, right? Give up the ghost, or however you want to phrase it there, anymore. It doesn't happen anymore. It used to happen all the time in NASCAR. Then also the fire side of that. So scary moment there. Got him out of the car. He was uninjured. Smoke is a big deal. I mean, that car just fills up with smoke if you don't know. Then on top of it, the fire, you saw the crew get him out quickly. Uninjured in that as well. But just a scary moment out there. But, you know, that's why they have the safety crews there. You can see they were kind of running. The one guy was running along with the car. Was able to get there quickly as well to help put out that fire in that situation. Still have the championship points here of the O'Reilly series. This will be O'Reilly 5. Justin Allgaier still leading this race, leading the points total right now by a large margin, right? 470 points for him, above Sheldon Creed there with 340. Jesse Love, who finished 12th here in this Bristol race. Then the third spot, Corey Day, Carson Wapple, Austin Hill, Sammy Smith, Brendan Jones, Parker Ratzliff, William Solwich, and then Raja Caruth and Taylor Gray, all above the cut line. We are starting to see some separation here. Now, granted, raced, 8 or 9 of the season, so plenty to go here, but we're starting to see a little bit of separation here from that 12th spot in the playoffs to the guys on the other side of it, right? Ryan Siegs, 28 points behind is that 13th spot. Sam Mayer, 35 points. Brendan Poole, 49 points as well in that 15th spot. Jeb Burton, 67 points behind that 12th spot in the last spot in those playoffs. We're starting to see some separation. Can that be made up? Absolutely, that can be made up. We're still way early in the season, but we're seeing some separation here. Whereas unlike the Truck Series that we just looked at, very close there for about 4 or 5 guys here still early in the season. In terms of ratings here on the O'Reilly Series at Bristol, well, the CW, again, thanks to them for the video, and they earned 1.219 million total viewers for the O'Reilly race there at Bristol. Now, that's all Nielsen panel and big data, the new ratings thing for them. It's the most watched Bristol spring race ever, according to Nelson and Big Data. Everything seems to be with Nelson and Big Data a record number so far here as we get into the way they've changed their rating style out there. Viewership did peak at 1.3 million total viewers in the closing laps, which of course saw Connor Zilic hang on for the victory over Kyle Larson, the Cup Series driver. The audience increased 22% over last year's spring Bristol race, which was actually held at the same weekend there. Now, this was a night race, so it did not go up against the Masters this year. Masters was all wrapped up, obviously, due to darkness there. So it was kind of a lone number there for the O'Reilly Series. The O'Reilly Series, well, they go ahead to Kansas this weekend. We'll, of course, look ahead to this weekend later in the show and get you ready for this weekend's ratings. But first, we got to talk Cup racing here at Bristol last weekend as well. Stop me and put your hand up if you had Ty Gibbs winning this race. Okay, if your hand's up, you're lying to me right now. You're lying to me. Nobody had this happening. Was a good surprise and a welcome surprise. I know Ty Gibbs takes a lot of heat out there. I get it. But he's got a lot of expectations on his shoulders, and he was able to get this win. If you don't know how he got it, he restarted in the lead on lap 486. He held on to that track position through a ninth caution that sent the race into overtime. He ended up beating Ryan Blaney to the finish line by .055 seconds to claim his first career NASCAR Cup Series victory. Won the Xfinity title back in 2022. First Cup Series here after that time frame. It's the closest margin of victory, by the way, at Bristol since April of 1991. So normally you don't see this close of a finishing side. The race with the overtime ended up going 505 laps here as well in this race. The margin of victory, well, it was the closest since Rusty Wallace beat Ernie Irvin, by the way, of those two back in April of 91. So you have to go back to those guys there to get that closest victory. One of the four leaders that happened at the Bristol race, well, Gibbs was out front for only final 25 laps. Yeah, reigning series champion Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney there, they combined to dominate the rest of the race here before that decisive caution. They were there at the end as well. Just couldn't get past Ty Gibbs there at the end. Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney combined. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm repeating myself there. What I meant to say was, let's go to NASCAR 1. White flag in overtime.
Here we come to overtime, sponsored by Credit One Bank. Gibbs outside of Blaney, and they're even on the restart.
Got to pay attention to that 5 car. Do not let him to your right rear.
Ty Gibbs is the black car in the front there.
Great job by Ty Gibbs so far.
White.
Just
Kyle
don't need to slip up right here. Coming to the white flag.
3 wide behind him. White flag. 1 lap to go. Gibbs with the launch off the corner. Takes it high into turn 3. Blaney hugs the yellow line on the bottom. Side by side. Ty Gibbs is a NASCAR Cup Series winner.
I mean, that is a fantastic finish. Man, Ryan Blaney was giving it all he could to get past him there, and Ty Gibbs just having that upper line able to get it done. You see right there, right? This is why people love Bristol, and I'm one of them out there. Half-a-mile track. You get those fast speeds. Normally on a short track, you're not getting those fast speeds. Domination as well. Now, earlier in the season, we had Denny Hamlin win a race just a few races ago. And Denny Hamlin won it. Emotional win for him. He's coming off an off season where he lost his dad in that house fire. His mom was badly injured in that house fire as well. And getting that win was very emotional for him. Well, Ty Gibbs has got a lot of stuff on his shoulders, right? Gibbs Racing, Coach Gibbs, head coach of the Redskins back in the day and other things in the NFL. And then he just comes from that racing family, and unfortunately, he lost his dad here in Phoenix the night that he won the Xfinity Championship back in 2022. This is his first win in the Cup Series. Has had a lot of struggles. Has had some good finishes, but no wins. Can be an emotional win here as well. So, hey, you win your first NASCAR Cup race, we're going to give you some love here as well. And then the emotion, was there for this family. And NASCAR 2, here's Ty Gibbs after the race.
Yeah, it's awesome. You know, it's awesome what you can do with great people, and to be in this position is great. You know, I would love for my father to see this, but you know, I know he knew it was going to happen and expected it as well. So, yeah, it was a great day for us. My 54 boys didn't give up. Pit crew is just amazing. You know, this is our family. Miller! And it's been great. So, you know, it's just such a great deal. You know. Very honored to be in this situation. Thank you for Monster Energy. Been with me my whole career. Thank you for Mitch Covington, Dave Gallen, Helton, everybody a part of it that's been, you know, they've been with me since I was a kid. So I really appreciate this. Woo!
Yeah, the only complaint I got about Ty Gibbs right there is what's up with those sunglasses. I'm just not a fan of those sunglasses out there. But, you know, he was actually fairly reserved for that win, in my opinion, right? Could have been a lot more emotional out there. Obviously wanted to talk about his dad pretty much right off the bat there as well. Well, I know one guy that's not as cool and calm as Ty Gibbs after that win. Well, his grandfather out there, right? The patriarch of Joe Gibbs Racing. And, you know, he's lost both of his sons, right, that are in the NASCAR circles. He's lost both of them over the years here, including Ty's dad, Coy. Well, here's Coach Gibbs after the race as well. NASCAR 3.
This is one of my best experiences. Obviously, when Denny won, honoring JD's life was such a huge deal. But I think about Coy. He brought Ty up the entire time. Just wish, I know he's probably watching. And so I just want to thank so many people. It starts with God. He's blessed us and our family. And just really, really can't say enough about it.
Hey, this is the man right here. I've never seen somebody work so hard in my life. You know, him and my mom. I come to the shop at 6 a.m. or 7 p.m. or when everybody's there, and they're not there. They're always there. They work their asses off. I really appreciate it. This is a great role model. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him.
It's just a huge deal for all of us. I just appreciate everything so much. I don't know if I'm still on here or not, but I am, yeah. Hey, I want to thank Tyler, Colpern, Grayson, all of our guys on the team. They did so much for this. Everybody back at Joe Gibbs Racing, thank y'all so much for us being able to enjoy this. It's one of the great blessings I've had in life.
All right, Coach, with that mic, send it over to Regan, okay?
Okay. Regan, do something for a change. Do something.
And that's fantastic. Just enjoying Ty Gibbs' first win on the NASCAR series with, you know, a lot of personal and angst, and it's a family business to the Gibbs family as well. And, you know, two of the sons there, Joe Gibbs' sons, aren't there anymore. So emotional win. Gotta love that. I know there's a lot of hate out there for Ty Gibbs, but if you don't enjoy that for him as a kid there with his first win, God bless you not having a heart out there, right? Hey, interesting thing. I love something NASCAR does. They do a lot of in-car stuff that you can get. If you're watching the races, they do a lot of comparisons side by side. So we showed you the Fox Sports broadcast there of the final lap there of the white flag. Well, how about you see the in-car of the final laps as well? It starts at the restart here. So basically, you have a green, white, checkered thing here. So 2 laps. Here we go. And you'll hear a lot of engine roaring here. Let's look at this because I think this stuff is fascinating. You have Ty Gibbs on the top of this as well. Ryan Blaney, I believe, is on the bottom here of this. I'll label it for us in case I'm wrong. And you'll see Kyle Larson battling it out as well behind Ty Gibbs. Here we go. The in-car, the final laps. Here's NASCAR 4. This is the restart here, so they're firing it up. Again, Ty Gibbs on the top, Ryan Blaney on the bottom here. Their view. There you go, right there. You saw how close it was with them battling it out. Kyle Larson giving the love tap there after Ty Gibbs gets that victory there in front of him. But, You see how close it is inside the car with the speed that they got. NASCAR does a fantastic job of bringing that to us as well. So we got to thank NASCAR for those viewpoints as well. Kyle Larson, you saw there, man, dominated this race, was up there in the front. Same thing, right? Right there at the end in the O'Reilly series on Saturday. He's right there at the end. Let's check in with Kyle Larson after the race. What did he think about his Bristol weekend? NASCAR 5.
Blaney had by far the best car. His pit crew just kept putting him behind all day, which really allowed us to, lead a lot of laps and get those stage wins. And so that was good. Happy about all of that. Just knew it was going to be difficult to hold him off ever, and seemed like every restart he could just plow right through the field and get to second, and then was just really fast. So. Yeah, and then Ty got strong there the last run too. That was probably my worst run, I think. We were making some adjustments at that point, and I just got a little bit out of the track, and they were just better than me. So, and then the strategy got kind of crazy there at the end, and we took the third place car and finished third. So happy with the points earned today, and look forward to next week.
I was wondering if Ty was going to burn out with his mom in the car on that other side. Put her through that as well, right? Kyle Larson led 284 laps, swept the first two stages there at Bristol. It was the third time in his career, by the way, that he's done that. He saw his winless streak grow to 32 races now for him, dating back to May 11th of 2025, folks, and that was the Kansas Speedway weekend. His last win. And what's coming up for NASCAR Cup Series? I don't know. A little race called Kansas Speedway coming up this weekend as well. Let's throw up the finishing order here on the Cup Series. NASCAR 6. Obviously, Ty Gibbs, number 1 as well. Ryan Blaney in that second place. Third place there for Kyle Larson here in this race. Ryan Blaney led the 190 laps. Kyle Larson, 284. Ty Gibbs only 25 here in this race. The only guy that led anything was Chase Elliott. He only led 6 laps in here. So the two dominant drivers not getting it done when it comes to the end based off of the pit positions, right, and the decisions there that they have to make. Tyler Reddick, right, the guy that's been dominating the NASCAR circuit this year. Another solid finish there in 4th place for him. Chase Briscoe there in 5th place. Todd Gilliland there in 6th spot. Joey Logano in 7th. Ryan Preece in 8th. Denny Hamlin in 9th. And then Carson Hocevar finishes top 10. The 2311 teammate there of Tyler Reddick. Bubba Wallace finished in 11th spot here for him. Daniel Suarez. Then it's Chris Buescher. Brad Keselowski. Those two RFK drivers right next to each other. AJ Allmendinger. Austin Cedric. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. there in that 17th spot. As well. Kyle Busch ended up finishing 25th in this race as well for him. And there was an interesting exchange there in the radio with Kyle Busch where basically he was told at one point to stop talking, stop complaining so much about his race car out there on the racetrack. So this is going to be fascinating to watch. Kyle Busch is very vocal on what's happening with this race car and how he doesn't like the way things are. They kept tightening the car, and he kept saying it getting slower and slower. They couldn't figure it out, and it just came down to that. And be interesting to see with Kyle Busch where they continue forward here with him, because his attitude would be put up with there at Joe Gibbs Racing. And what I mean by attitude is the way he races was put up at Joe Gibbs Racing when he was winning a lot. Not winning as much now, and you don't get put up with as much when you're not winning as much out there. Interesting enough here, right? Alex Bowman returned from his several-week off hiatus there with the vertigo that he had, his 4-race absence. There he did return in this race. Well, he did end up leaving the race early here when Shane Van Gisbergen spun in turn 4 and collected several cars. John Hunter Nemechek and Alex Bowman were involved in that as well. They did try to repair the car, did not get it done, and Bowman did exit the race there in 37th place. He completed 163 laps for his first race back there in the 48 car there for him. And you just saw it there, Shane Van Gisbergen. I've liked the way he's run this year. He's gotten better on the ovals. This was not a good race there for SVG here, which happens to a lot of these drivers. So it's not like I'm blaming him, but this is the first time this year in an oval where you go, oof, SVG. You look like your old SVG self out there. Let's throw up the championship points here on the NASCAR series after this race. Here we go. Tyler Reddick, no shocker here, in the lead, but he is losing his advantage here over Ryan Blaney. Tyler Reddick here coming up. Now, Ryan Blaney's had some wins, had a win. Ryan Blaney's also gotten some, points here with stages and everything. Tyler Reddick's not running badly at all, but they are narrowing that gap up there. Denny Hamlin's on the 3rd spot. Ty Gibbs vaults up to the 4th spot here with a win at Bristol. Then you got Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, William Byron, Bubba Wallace there in 8th, Christopher Bell in 9th, Chris Buescher in 10th, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano. I think it was my race winner here as well, just not able to get it done. Carson Hocevar, Ryan Preece, Daniel Suarez, and then SVG, 1 point on the positive here in that 16th spot above the cup line. Well, that means if he's 1 point up, well, that means Chase Briscoe's 1 point down on the outside. Looking in, Austin Cindric's 5 points out, Michael McDowell 6 points out. Then you're getting a little bit of a gap there with AJ Allmendinger in that 20th spot for him as well, in that 20th spot to outside looking in for them in the Cup Series. And so we're seeing some separation, but a little bit farther down than we are in that Cup Series. Hey, the race there at Bristol Motor Speedway for Sunday on Fox Sports 1. By the way, I think it's the Fox Sports 1 for all of the video as well. Well, that rating on FS1 averaged 1.945 million viewers. That's a 3% increase in ratings. 5% drop, though, in total viewership compared to the same race last year. The difference is O'Reilly race was at night. Masters was done. Masters had record ratings on their side there during the day. There with with their win there by Rory as well, and with Scheffler battling it out with him toward the end. Well, that race was going up against the end of that Masters, and the Masters ended up with 14 million viewers, and it peaked near 20 million viewers at the end of the Masters as well. It was the most watched golf telecast in 7 years, and that's what NASCAR was going up against there. So that could explain the 5% drop there as well for them. So, of course, NASCAR Cup Series goes over to Kansas this weekend. We'll look ahead to that here in just a little bit. But when we come back here at the Pit Stop, thank you for joining us here for our weekly show. Don't forget, follow us on the Pit Stop Talk on X. Hit us up there as well. Interact with us. That's our racing page where we talk NASCAR and IndyCar racing and give our feedback. We'd love to interact with you there. Also, hit up TME Media AZ on Twitter, on X as well. That's our parent company of our production stuff. Just put out some news and stuff like when this show becomes available on all the sites. We'll talk about when we come back. Well, TME Media AZ will put the promotion out there for you. Follow TME Media AZ as well on X as well. So when we come back, we'll look at news around racing. We'll look ahead at racing this weekend at Kansas on NASCAR. IndyCar gets back underway after the couple-week hiatus. Long Beach coming up. Come on back. It's the Pit Stop. programming that we put out here and produce here as well under TME Media. So that's why you follow us at TME Media AZ on X. We put all of that stuff out there. We do produce other shows that go out under other entities, meaning they push them out, not us. We do that as well. So follow us at TME Media AZ on X, and we'll get you what we do in case you have any needs as well you'd like to explore out there as well. You can also like and subscribe how you watch or listen to us. All your favorite podcast systems out there have all of our shows except for one. McCollum on Business does not have the podcast, but you could search the Pit Stop with Steven on your favorite podcast system. This show will pop right up for you. Or the Pit Stop Talk, it'll come up as well. That's the code for it as well for you. All of our shows have podcasts except for at McCollum on Business, but also all of our shows are on YouTube except for The Real Matrix. That one is not fully on YouTube and anything, but you can just look for TME Media AZ. It'll pop right up for you. You can search for the main event with Steven, McCollum on Business, the Pit Stop. It'll come up for you there on YouTube as well, but TME Media AZ is the page where that's at. And The Real Matrix has been on Rumble for several weeks now here in this season. Rumble.com/user/TME Media AZ. Well, now all the sports programming, including the Pit Stop, are up as of last week as well. They're on Rumble, so follow us on rumble.com/user/TME Media. Catch all of our programming there on Rumble, YouTube. However you like to watch us or listen to us, just hit the like, subscribe button. Helps get us out into the world out there of people looking for the programming. Our numbers are trending up. Our numbers are excitingly trending up. I was talking to Angry Patriot about that with The Real Matrix going on Rumble, getting a little bit of an uptick there, but also everywhere else, the podcast systems here at Robat TV. And we can't thank you enough for that and following us and supporting us out there as well. So, hey, with all that being said, let's get into, before we get into racing this week, I should say, let's get into the news around the sport of racing. And there's a lot of it out there. Last week, I told you NASCAR is going to be adjusting the stage lengths for the NASCAR Cup Series at Talladega, which we're a couple of weeks away here, coming up April 26th. Is that right? Race? Last week, we were just speculating on what they would be. Well, the updated stages are going to be Stage 1. That'll end on lap 98. Stage 2 was going to be on lap 143. And the final stage, obviously, will be lap 188 for that. The idea behind this, before it was short, long. So guys teams would fuel save so they could get to the end of the stages and to fuel save. Kind of reversing that a little bit. Where it's going to be, can you get to the end of these stages without the fuel stops to keep the fuel saving from happening? It'll be an interesting experiment. See what happens. I know one thing. Although I do like Talladega racing over the last several years with the fuel saving, well, it's been kind of hard to watch for us longtime NASCAR fans. So maybe this will spice it up a little bit and get some of that gas savings. Guys will run more full throttle more often out there on the racetrack. And for those of you that love to vote on things, got two opportunities for you around NASCAR. The 2027 NASCAR Hall of Fame fan vote, it's now open, folks. So you have the opportunity to cast your ballot. You can help decide who should be forever enshrined among NASCAR's greatest there. Voting has begun. It's going to go until May 17th at noon Eastern time. Voters may select up to 2 nominees from the modern era ballot, up to 1 nominee from the pioneer era ballot as well. You may submit up to 1 vote overall per day. You do have to put your email address in there. So 1 vote per day per email address there for the Hall of Fame voting as well. For you, if you like that, and if you want to vote for that and you like to vote some more, well, you can now support your favorite driver for a chance to compete in the NASCAR All-Star Race. This year, the All-Star Race is at Dover Motor Speedway. Now, the fan vote is officially open. Go to NASCAR.com. You'll see it on that front page there to vote. So you have the power, you, the fans, to place 1 driver into the All-Star Race lineup. Fans can cast votes to any NASCAR Cup Series driver not already eligible for the All-Star Race. They keep 1 spot open for this vote. They're going to help determine who advances through the fan support. The voting period opened already. It'll close on Sunday, May 17th, 9 a.m. Eastern Time, so 6 a.m. our time, May 17th. The fan vote winner will be revealed on Sunday, May 17th, right before the engines are fired for the main event. That's an early one there. It's a 1 p.m. Eastern race there for the All-Star race. You can vote up to 5 times per day per unique email address throughout that voting window here for the All-Star race. So get your voting there. You want a driver that doesn't qualify for the All-Star race? You want to see him in it? Well, get your votes in now as well. So, Colleague Racing, we've talked about them, right? They have a driver that resigned on him after making some disparaging comments. They had to promote Corey LaJoie into that truck. Well, then, of course, you've got Corey Heim, who elected to not race in the Truck Series. Some interesting dynamics here between them. But Chris Rice is the president of Colleague Racing. He said he has asked for a waiver to make Corey LaJoie eligible for the 10-driver championship. So they have done the waiver for that. Here's the question, and this question was asked this week. Why aren't you doing that for Corey Heim as well? Even though he's not racing in a lot of the Truck Series races, the way he races there on that Truck Series, he gets a lot of wins competing for it. He'd be in second place right now if he was eligible. So this was asked on Sirius XM's The Morning Drive. He was asked specifically about the potential of Tricon Garage's Corey Heim applying for a wager, since he's actually leading the standings despite missing 2 races and not being championship eligible as the result of missing those 2 races. Chris's response was, quote, "Oh boy, we just asked for one for Corey LaJoie, so if I say no, that might mess me up," unquote. Now, he said that with a laugh, but he's not wrong. Why are you doing it for Corey LaJoie but not for Heim, right? But, and this is where it gets interesting. Heim's case, that was pretty straightforward to get it. He did miss 2 races here. Now, he elected to miss them. It wasn't a medical issue, or in Corey Heim's case, he just didn't have the ride and was racing a little bit, and was put into the full-time service. But Corey Heim did elect to receive truck points at the beginning of the season, even though he's not intending to chase for the truck championship. Corey LaJoie, on the other hand, he elected to receive Cup Series points at the start of the season. Cup Series points. Yeah, because he raced the Daytona 500 for RFK Racing. Corey LaJoie is currently 84 points out with 13 races to go as well for that waiver. So a little bit of a disparity there. I am curious. NASCAR traditionally gives waivers for medical reasons. A guy that has to miss a race. They did it for Kyle Larson when he raced in the Coca-Cola 600 and didn't get into. I'm sorry, he raced in the Indy 500, didn't get to the Coca-Cola race in time. They did give him a waiver for that situation. It'd be interesting to see what they do with Corey LaJoie here and if he will be eligible on the truck side. And I don't think it's going to matter. I don't think Corey LaJoie is going to get up into that thing, even if he gets the waiver. But you got to ask, right? You got to ask to see if you can get there as well. Now, for those of you traditionalist NASCAR racers and you want to see them get back to the NASCAR fairgrounds, well, NASCAR president Steve O'Donnell, he was a guest on the Door Bumper Clear podcast this week. He said he wants to see NASCAR return to the Nashville fairgrounds, and we've heard that a lot. But he says he wants to return there more than ever. And he even said that the Cars series, that ZMAX series, he said that was proof that NASCAR belongs in Nashville. Huge fan support there, and car racing was good as well in that. But he said the effort to get NASCAR back to Nashville is a, quote, uphill battle, unquote. That tells me the racetrack doesn't want him there or doesn't like the terms of NASCAR going there. But it's an uphill battle, so just an update for you traditionalists looking for NASCAR to get back involved in the racing. And then the new lawsuit that isn't going to end. Joe Gibbs Racing filed some stuff this week. Chris Gabehart, of course, now with Spire Motorsports, was with Joe Gibbs Racing before. He attended the NASCAR event over the weekend at Bristol. And Joe Gibbs Racing, they're adamant that he violated a temporary restraining order in the process of being there. Gabehart has continued to attend NASCAR Cup Series races since the temporary restraining order was issued. And he has been photographed several times by Joe Gibbs Racing as that team continues to make a case that the court is being ignored with that restraining order. This time, though, Joe Gibbs Racing, they issued a pair of declarations by Ty Gibbs' social media manager, David Biro, and competition director there with Joe Gibbs Racing, Wally Brown. These are some strong charges here. Biro submitted photographs of Gabehart in the infield during Cup Series track sessions at Bristol. He was wearing a radio headset. There's a distinction, though. He did not have a microphone on that radio headset, so he could only listen. He couldn't talk back. But he was also standing in a pit road workstation and standing near Cup Series driver Carson Hocever as well, who's a Spire racer. The court order basically only allows Gabehart to participate in senior executive level activities with Spire currently, while this is in the lawsuit, and only in a competition role for non-Cup or O'Reilly Series division that Spires is involved in. Nothing with Cup is what he's supposed to be involved with at all. Brown has accused Gabehart of doing competition director level activities on Saturday and Sunday for Spire at Bristol on that Cup Series. Big charges here, right? Because if you go against a court order, that's a big deal. But, of course, Gabehart and his legal team did issue responses this week after it was charged. They asked the court to disregard what Joe Gibbs Racing is saying. Quote, It is an improper attempt to introduce surveillance photos as evidence outside the briefing schedule. Unable to substantiate its claims, JGR has resorted to stalking Mr. Gabehart at racetracks, then rushing to this court to spin routine behavior into suggested misconduct. The court should give this filing no weight, unquote. As has been the argument all along, Gabehart and his legal team, and Inspire, because they're involved in this, they say that Matt McCall is the competition director at Inspire Motorsports, so there's no reason for anyone else to perform those duties. This story is just getting fascinating and more fascinating. If I were Spire, I would have him nowhere near the Cup side of things, at least at the racetrack. They're kind of flaunting it a little bit and leaving a question there. Now, I'm no expert, but I would stay clear of it if I was them. But hey, I'm not in charge. You can do what you want, right? Yes. Hey, let's look back. That's all the news out there, and let's look ahead to the racing coming up this weekend. Let's talk IndyCar first because they get back on the track after a couple weeks off over in Long Beach, California this weekend. Let's remind you of the point standings going into this race here for IndyCars. It'll be Indy 1 here. Kyle Kirkwood, number 1. He was the winner here of the Long Beach race last year. Alex Palau there in the second spot. Christian Lundgaard in third. David Malakis, who's having a great season without a win, in that fourth spot. And then Josef Newgarden, who won here in Phoenix, in that fifth spot right now. There's a considerable difference, but obviously a win will bump you back up there as well. But Kyle Kirkwood and Alex Palau, I think, are two drivers going to be battling it out a lot this year. The Long Beach course, if you're not familiar with it, it's a legendary course, and people love watching it. It's a one for the drivers. It's a fun one for the fans as well. It's a 1.968 mile, 11 turn. Now, it's a temporary street circuit. It does encircle the Long Beach Convention Center, if you're familiar with that. That houses a family fun zone and numerous displays during race weekend that you can go and visit. It even runs down the Shoreline Drive there, which is a scenic beach drive there in Long Beach. It offers numerous overtaking opportunities for passing. Turn 1 being a big one there as well, so you can see that right off the bat on the race. Getting the hairpin turn just before the front stretch, right? Well, it's critical to get that because you will be passed if you mess that up. Qualifying is Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. That's 3:30 p.m. here in Phoenix, in California. Phoenix is where we record this show. It's going to be on FS1 there, qualifying. Then the race is Sunday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, so 2:30 our time. It's going to be on Fox here coming up as well for IndyCar. Kyle Kirkwood, the championship point leader, as I told you, won this race last year. Here's the question going into this weekend. After the 2-week break for IndyCar, who's going to come out refreshed? Who's going to come out ready to go? Right? That was the question going into this Bristol race for the Cup Series of NASCAR after they had the Easter weekend off. You didn't see a lot of sluggishness out there. How many people like Will Power? Is Will Power and his team? They had a one race success this year, and otherwise they've struggled a little bit. Oh, they got those bugs out now. Is on this new team for Will Power. Those bugs out to where they're going to start to find their footing. Does Alex Palau return to his dominant side here after this little couple weeks break? Does Cookwood keep going? Does Malakis get a win here? Does he keep running positively? Lots of questions going into this after the couple weeks off. Here's who I'm going with in this race. I like Kyle Cookwood this year. I think he's racing fantastic. I think he's the one driver that can compete with Alex Palau this year and stay in front of him, or at least compete with him here as the season goes on. He won this race last year. I think he's going to repeat this race this year here in Long Beach here this weekend. The streets of Long Beach. 90 miles, or 90 laps, by the way, on this racetrack as well. So they'll run 177 laps out there for these guys here in Long Beach this weekend. It is we saw the Austin race, or not Austin, the Fort Worth race. The different city there that I'm drawing a blank on. But they raced there, right? And it went around Texas Stadium and where the Cowboys play. Where the Texas Rangers play. That was a gorgeous setting besides the racetrack. This is another one of those as well. So I'm looking forward to it. I got Kyle Cookwood getting that win here this weekend. I do say, obviously, you got to keep your eye on Alex Palau, but also keep your eyes out for Josef Newgarden here this weekend on this racetrack. And now let's talk a little NASCAR this weekend, right? The Truck Series is off until May 1st at Texas Motor Speedway. The O'Reilly and Cup NASCAR Series are going to be at Kansas this weekend. Obviously, we're going to talk O'Reilly first and move to Kansas. If you don't know, Kansas is your bread and butter intermediate track. 1.5 mile asphalt oval. It's going to take speed. You will need to do green flag stops here if cautions are minimum here, which they should be. Speed is going to be the main thing here. It's kind of strategies. They're using the same tires they used last year in the O'Reilly and Cup Series. It was a new blend of tire last year that had some success. Does that wear continue, or do they wear a little bit faster? So pay attention to the trucks or the tire side of things as well. So this is going to be a fun little race here in the O'Reilly Series and Cup Series. Only William Byron and Cole Custer's coming down from the Cup Series to run in this O'Reilly race this weekend. Practice is Friday. It's coming up here, 7 to 7:50 p.m. Eastern, so 4 to 4:50 p.m. here in Phoenix time for practice. Qualifying is also Friday for the O'Reilly Series, 8:05 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern time, so 5:05 p.m. our time here in Phoenix for qualifying in the O'Reilly Series. Friday this week. Saturday, well, that's when you get the actual Kansas O'Reilly race out there. 7 p.m. Eastern, which is 4 p.m. our time, so night race there in Kansas. Of course, O'Reilly Series races on the CW here this year. Is there any questions going into this on where we're looking at? Joe Gibbs Racing and JRM, Junior Motorsport. Dominant teams out there, and they've been dominant. Junior Motorsports has been way dominant than anybody else. They just had 4 out of the 5 drivers in the top 5 there at Bristol. Their drivers have been winning, led by Justin Allgaier out there. Their drivers have been top 5 a lot this year, and they've dominated in that respect. Do you expect the winner coming from that group of drivers there with JRM? Now, Joe Gibbs Racing, their drivers have a chance to do this as well. I like this Kansas racetrack. I think experience is going to kind of set you apart here as well. I think speed and the best pit crews are going to get you the wins here. I'm going to go something I generally don't do. I'm going to go chalk this week. I'm going to go with Justin Allgaier this weekend in the 7 car to get another win here on this season here in Kansas. I think he's going to kind of dominate this race up front. I think him and his teammates are going to be up there. If Allgaier doesn't win it, it will probably be another JRM driver that gets this win. I do expect the experience of Justin Allgaier here at Kansas to get the win, just based off of the speed and the pit stop and his crew there, and his crew chief. I know I don't like to do that, but I got to go with the 7 car. Expect domination this weekend from them. Then you got the Cup Series this weekend at Kansas as well. Practice and qualifying will be Saturday, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, that's 1 to 3 p.m. And don't forget, Cup practice and qualifying is on Amazon Prime here this year as well. Then the race comes up, and it's Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox, is what we're looking at here for that race. So 11 a.m. our time at Kansas here on Sunday. So a little bit of a reversal. It'll be NASCAR Cup, then IndyCar. Normally it's IndyCar in the morning and then Cup in the afternoon. A little bit of a reversal here that the TV station is going to be Fox here this weekend, as we're still in the Fox window of NASCAR racing. Now, Kansas is a fun racetrack. I expect it to be this weekend in both series here as well. I already told you in the O'Reilly Series speed strategy how much the right side tires are going to affect this race. Is kind of the question mark that you have here. Then you can kind of get into some statistical stuff on what we're looking at on who's fast here. Well, you can look at who's won poles here lately as well, right? So we could talk here, Christopher Bell. 4 poles. By the way, both poles last year for Christopher Bell in this race. He won a pole in 2023. He won a pole in 2022, folks. How else can you say Christopher Bell is going to be fast here at this racetrack other than that? Joey Logano has 2 poles. Now, you have to go back to 2018 was his last one. So it's been a while, but he still has the 2. Chase Briscoe has one in 2025 for him as well. Then Kyle Larson has one in 2025, which, of course, he won last year at this racetrack as well as last win. William Byron has won 2023. Of course, Hendrick Motorsports there for them. Tyler Reddick, dominant driver to begin this year. When he's not winning, he's finishing good in these races. He has that pole back in 2022, followed by Ryan Blaney has one. You got to go back to 2017 for the Team Penske guys. Let's go back before the 2020s for Penske and their poles as well out there. And then you got a couple other guys there with one that go farther back for them. Then you want to look at organizations with multiple poles, right, that we're looking at. Shouldn't be a shocker to you here that Joe Gibbs Racing and Hendrick Motorsports are at the top of this. They are actually tied for organizations with poles here at Kansas. Both have 7. 2025, Joe Gibbs won 1. Hendrick won 1 in the 2 races there at Kansas. 2024 was swept by Joe Gibbs Racing, of course, Christopher Bell. 2023 split between Hendricks and Joe Gibbs. 2022 was Joe Gibbs Racing. And then after that, you got to go back to 2012 for Hendrick Motorsports. Joe Gibbs Racing has been more dominant here at this racetrack in terms of the poles and more recently in the poles that you see out there as well. Hendrick Motorsports, at least Kyle Larson has been very fast here as well. But you can't sleep on Denny Hamlin. You can't sleep on, of course, Christopher Bell here at the race this weekend. Which active drivers have won at Kansas? Go back to the historical side. You need a fast car here, but you also need the experience, right? Bristol, Ty Gibbs was able to get a win, employed a pit strategy that worked out for him, and he was able to get the win out there. It's not going to be the case here at Kansas. Yes, you need a pit strategy if tires go a little wonky. Yes, if you need a pit late in this race because of a caution, you have to have good pit strategy from that side as well. But an experienced driver is who's going to win here at Kansas, and somebody with some speed is going to win here as well. Denny Hamlin has 4 wins here at Kansas. Last one here in 23, one in 2020 as well. Then you got to go farther back. We discount them a little bit because we get away from those next-gen cars at that point. But Denny Hamlin, 2 in the 20s here. Kyle Larson, though, is the one that I'm keeping my eye on this weekend. 1 here last year. 1 in 21, 1 in 24, and 1 in 25. 3 wins for Kyle Larson. He is fast. This is a racetrack where he can dominate and get that win out there. You know, Team Penske, I told you, they don't qualify well here. They don't get the pole. The last time Joey Logano won here was 2020 and before. He has 3 wins here, but 2020 was his last one and before that. I just don't see the Team Penske guys. Although they'll have the speed, I don't see them being there at the end on these 1.5-mile tracks. Chase Elliott, right? A lot of speed for him. Got the win here in 2025 as well. He has 2 wins here at Kansas. Before that, it was at 2018. but a recent win. Chase Elliott will be fast here. Can he overcome his teammate, Kyle Larson? Is kind of the question as well. Kyle Busch, right? Well, he wasn't with his current team last time he won in 2021, but he does have 2 wins here. Same thing with Brad Keselowski. You know, you have to go back before 2020 for his 2 wins. But Ross Chastain has a win here in 2024. I just don't see him winning here. There's something with that team that they're struggling right now these last couple of years here with Ross Chastain. I don't see it rebounding here this weekend at Kansas. Tyler Reddick dominated all year. He did win here in 2023. Tyler Reddick's going to have a fast car and employ the pit strategies to get him to the front late if he needs to. Tyler Reddick is in play there with 23-11 this weekend. Bubba Wallace, of course, won here in 2022. Kind of a controversial win for him. Race was called early, but he does have that win here. Bubba Wallace has been running fast and well. I just don't think he can get that win. He's just something happens when he gets to that win that kind of just struggles with him out there. So you see, we're limiting it down to our limited drivers here and who we're going to get to win this weekend with the statistics. Then, of course, you've got the drivers where starting positions and finish percentages for Kansas this weekend. We always look at this because generally, like Bristol, you have to start in the top 5 to have a chance to win, a realistic chance to win. If you're outside the top 10 in qualifying, you had an 80-something% chance to win at Bristol if you were in the top 10. A little bit different on these intermediary tracks. But if you're on the pole here, you have a really good chance to win. So much so, starting position, 20% chance to win here at Kansas if you're in the pole position. If you're on the outside there in that second spot, 5% chance to win. Third spot, only a 2.50% chance to win here at Kansas. Then in the 4th, 5th, and 6th spot, a little bit better odds. The 4th spot, 12.5% here. The 5th spot, 10% chance to win. You can see the numbers are up and down here on this racetrack. So if you start in the front row, 25% chance to win, but 20% of that chance is on the pole, folks. Winning in the top 5 starting position, 50%. You want to qualify in the top 5 here to give yourself a 50% chance to win this Kansas race. Top 10 starting position, 62.5. Yeah, if you're outside of the top 10, you're going to have a tough day out there. It's going to be fascinating to see, right? Who doesn't qualify right? Who wrecks their car and has to start in the back? That's going to affect your speed and how you race at this racetrack here this weekend at Kansas as well. Look, this is going to be a fun race. I'm looking forward to it a lot. This is one of my favorite races out there. I prefer these 1.5-mile tracks. It's the bread and butter of NASCAR. But the only downside of them is you get your predictable wins usually. Places like Bristol, you can get, right, a Ty Gibbs to sneak a win there. Daytona, you can get a guy, Michael McDowell's and those guys, into the front here and win them. These 1.5-mile tracks are a little bit less predictable out there. Christopher Bell dominates here at this racetrack lately. He's got the speed to do it. Him, Denny Hamlin, those are the 2 Joe Gibbs drivers you'll give a chance to. Kyle Larson, I'm not even counting Chase Elliott, but he's got a chance. He's got the speed. Can he get there? Kyle Larson's last win was here at Kansas last year. He's pushing. He had a great Bristol finish. You saw that. We played the lead for you there, the video afterwards from Fox Sports on that win streak. I've been going back and forth here between Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson in this race. Not going to lie to you. Tyler Reddick has a chance to win this race. I could see Tyler Reddick getting another win here this weekend and doing so fairly easy. I'm going to go with Kyle Larson in this race only because he has been racing better as time's been going on. He does have a winless streak. Kyle Larson, to me, doesn't press when these things type of happen, but he needs to get to a track where his bread and butter can be signed. He's got the fast car, can just get out front and just go. I do think it comes to qualifying. If Christopher Bell qualifies in that pole spot, I think it favors him a little bit more there. Kyle Larson wins the pole. I think obviously it favors him a little more. Statistics tell us that's the case. I'm going to go out on my quote-unquote limb here and just stick with last year's winner, Kyle Larson, getting the win, breaking his winless streak here at Kansas. going to be a fun race. It's going to be fast. Guys are going to be going at the full models. And I don't know about you guys. Hit me up, right? Hit me up at the Pit Stop Talk. You guys prefer the 1.5 tracks? I know some people prefer the street cars, the street races, and the road courses. I'm not a fan of most of those out there. I was a big fan of the Chicago one that's gone away now. I'm going to hopefully love the San Diego one coming up. But other than that, Coda, it's not a big fan of them at all. Sonoma, I am. That's been around for long enough. That's kind of grown on me. These 1.5 tracks, man, are so much fun. You get a little bit of predictability. I'm okay with that sometimes as well. Kyle Larson gets the Cup win, folks. I appreciate you joining us here on the Pit Stop for this week. On demand, don't forget, YouTube, TME Media AZ. Find the page there and like and subscribe to that. On Rumble as well, rumble.com/user/TME Media there on Rumble as well. Follow us at the Pit Stop Talks on X. That's our social media page. And interact there with your thoughts around the NASCAR racing. And then, of course, TME Media AZ on X as well. That's our parent company of all the production work we do out there. Follow us there. We'll get it out there. We post when these shows go up as well. It'll be a fun weekend here next week. Another fun weekend of racing coming our way. So come and join us next week, would you? I'll see you then here on the Pit Stop.